Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
It was late August, the kind of oppressive humidity that makes you feel perpetually sticky and useless. Elliot, Tara, and I were slumped on my porch, melting popsicles dripping onto our shorts, utterly bored. Elliot, bless his reckless heart, was always the one to stir things up. "You know," he said, flicking a sticky wrapper, "old Mr. Watts's greenhouse is supposed to be full of freaky stuff, like carnivorous plants that scream, or things from another planet." Mr. Watts was the town recluse. His sprawling, decaying estate bordered the woods, its ancient greenhouse a skeletal dome of rusted iron and broken glass, completely swallowed by ivy and neglect. Rumors had it he was a mad botanist, and no one had seen him in years. The place was a local legend, a dare waiting to happen. Tara, ever the cautious one, shifted uneasily. "No way, Elliot. That place is probably collapsing, or infested with rats, or worse, Mr. Watts could be in there." Elliot just grinned, that mischievous glint in his eyes. "Exactly. Imagine the stories the bragging writes." He looked at me. "Maya, you in?" I hesitated. The thought of trespassing sent a shiver down my spine, but the crushing boredom was worse. "Okay," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. "But if we get caught, it was all your idea, Elliot." Later that night, armed with a flashlight and a healthy dose of adrenaline, we crept through the gnarled overgrowth surrounding the Watts estate. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and something vaguely floral, but sickly sweet. The greenhouse doors groaned open with a protesting shriek, revealing an interior that defied description. It was a labyrinth of tangled vines, exotic blooms, and something that hummed. The humidity hit us like a physical wall, hot and cloying. Strange, iridescent plants glowed with their own internal light, casting an eerie, alien glow on our faces. Some had tendrils that twitched subtly, others pulsed with a slow, rhythmic beat. It was like stepping into another dimension, beautiful and terrifying. Elliot, predictably, was enthralled. He pushed deeper, shining his light on a particularly magnificent specimen at the center. It was a massive, deep violet plant, its core radiating a soft, rhythmic thrum. Thick, fleshy tendrils coiled around a central stalk, like a monstrous heart. "Look at this," he whispered, his voice awestruck. "It's alive." He reached out a hand, tracing a finger along one of its smoother tendrils. It retracted slightly, then slowly unfurled again, almost as if tasting him. "I dare you guys," he said, turning to us, his eyes wide with a manic excitement. "Touch it, take a piece." Tara recoiled, shaking her head vehemently. "No, absolutely not. This is messed up, Elliot, we should go." But the plant was mesmerizing. Its purple glow seemed to pull me in. My heart hammered against my ribs. I knew it was stupid, dangerous even, but Elliot's stare, that challenge was too much. I reached out, my fingers trembling, and broke off a small, firm tendril. It snapped with a wet, sinewy sound, and a thin, milky sap oozed from the break. It smelled of ozone and damp soil. Elliot cheered, but when he tried to take his own piece, the plant reacted. A thorny vine lashed out, catching his forearm. He yelped, pulling back, a row of tiny red punctures blooming on his skin. He still broke off a piece, a smaller one, but his bravado had taken a hit. We stumbled out of there, the broken tendrils clutched in our hands, the strange, sickly sweet scent clinging to our clothes. For a few days, it was just a story, a dark secret we shared. Elliot even seemed fine, though he complained of a persistent itch on his arm. But then the changes started. It began subtly. The puncture marks on Elliot's forearm developed a strange, purple discoloration, like veins darkening under his skin. It spread slowly at first up his arm, then across his shoulder. He started scratching constantly, sometimes so hard he drew blood. He began to smell faintly metallic, like damp earth mixed with old copper. He grew irritable, withdrawing from us, preferring to sit in dim, quiet rooms, shunning sunlight. Tara and I tried to talk to him. We suggested doctors, but he just shook his head, his eyes glazed over. "It's nothing," he'd rasp, his voice growing strangely hoarse, like dry leaves skittering across pavement. "Just a bug bite." But it wasn't a bug bite. His skin began to lose its elasticity, becoming brittle, almost bark-like in places. Small, dark nodules, like nascent buds, appeared on his neck and behind his ears. His movements grew stiff, almost robotic. He'd spend hours staring at walls, sometimes whispering to himself in a low, guttural murmur that sounded less like words and more like the rustling of leaves in a strong wind. Then came the spores, fine, shimmering dust that flaked off him whenever he moved, settling on furniture, on his clothes. It had that same sickly sweet, earthy smell. Tara was terrified. "Maya, we have to tell someone," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "He's not Elliot anymore." I was scared too, but I didn't know what to do. How do you explain to a doctor that your friend is turning into a plant? One morning, Elliot was just gone. His room was empty, save for a thick layer of green-brown dust on everything. A faint, earthy odor lingered. We searched everywhere, called his parents, but no one knew where he was. It was as if he'd simply walked away, leaving nothing but a lingering, fungal echo. "He went back," Tara whispered, her face pale. "He went back to the greenhouse." The thought chilled me to the bone, but it made a twisted kind of sense. We had to go back. We had to find him, or at least understand what was happening. That evening, under a bruised purple sky, we returned to the Watts estate. The air was even heavier now, the floral stench stronger. As we neared the greenhouse, I could see it wasn't just ivy consuming it anymore. Thick, purplish-black vines had burst through the glass, wrapping around the iron frame, pulsating with a sickening life of their own. We squeezed through a broken panel. The interior was almost unrecognizable. The central plant, the deep violet heart, had grown monstrously. It dwarfed everything else, its tendrils now thick as ropes, snaking across the floor, up the walls, even dripping from the ceiling. The air was thick with pollen and that cloying sweetness. And then we saw him. Elliot, or what was left of him. He wasn't lying on the floor, he was part of it. His body was twisted, fused into the massive violet plant. One arm, still recognizably his, was outstretched, his fingers ending in sharp, green thorns. His skin was mottled, a patchwork of human flesh and hardened bark, interwoven with the plant's own tendrils. His eyes, wide, vacant, staring out at nothing. A silent scream was etched onto his face. He was an offering, a sacrifice, a living part of the greenhouse now. The sight ripped a scream from Tara. She stumbled forward, tears streaming down her face. "Elliot!" she choked out, reaching for him. The plant reacted. Before I could grab her, a thick green tendril, thorny and quick, shot out and wrapped around Tara's ankle. She cried out, falling to the ground. More tendrils emerged, lashing out, encircling her wrists, her torso. I saw her skin ripple, begin to darken, small purple-black lines spreading across her flesh. Her eyes, wide with terror, met mine, and then they glazed over, becoming as dull and lifeless as Elliot's. "Run, Maya," she choked, the last human sound she made, as a vine covered her mouth and her body slowly, horribly began to contort. I didn't think, I just ran. I scrambled back through the broken glass, tearing my skin on thorns, not caring about the pain. I heard the sickening sounds of rustling and stretching behind me, the greenhouse groaning with a newfound hunger. I didn't stop until I burst out of the Watts estate, gasping for air, the night air a cold shock against my burning skin. I ran home, locked every door, every window. I stripped off my clothes, jumped into the shower, scrubbing at my skin until it was raw and red, trying to wash away the spores, the scent, the memory. But some things don't wash away. I felt a scratch on my arm, deep and stinging. I inhaled the humid air of the greenhouse, the sickly sweet smell that now permeates my dreams. My houseplants are dying. Not slowly, naturally. They're shriveling, their leaves turning black, then suddenly sprouting strange, purplish growths, pulsating faintly. I watch them, terrified. Every itch, every faint discoloration on my skin sends me into a panic. I check my reflection compulsively, searching for bark, for thorns, for those deep violet lines. The Watts estate is now a green mound, completely engulfed. No trace of the old greenhouse or house, just a living, breathing, festering monument to something ancient and hungry. I can still smell it on the wind sometimes, and I wonder every single day if I truly escaped, or if a piece of that dreadful heart is now growing inside of me, waiting to bloom. I keep my windows closed, but I can still hear the whispers and the rustling leaves outside. I'm pretty sure the plant isn't done with me yet. It's just taking its time.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.